everyone, my name is Sabrina and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are doing a tutorial on how to crochet the Sisterly Love Shawlette. So here it is. If you haven't seen my previous video where I'm talking about it, I will try and show you as much as I can. Here we are. And this shawlette is worked from side to side. So we start from here and we do some increases until we get to the center, and then we start on the decreases, and when we've done that we are going to work on the border. So in this video we are simply going to work on the body of this shawlette, and I will do a separate video to do the edging. So I cannot show you the shawlette in its entirety, so what I'm going to do now is pause and I will show you a picture or two of that, and I will be back to tell you about materials and we can start on this particular tutorial. Okay, now that you have seen a picture in its entirety of the shawlette, let's discuss measurements and materials. So in its width, this shawlette measures 67 inches or 170 centimeters, and from the top to the bottom of the edging it measures 17.5 inches or 45 centimeters. So to do this particular shawlette, I have used 200 grams of regular DK. So you can use any colors that you wish. I have used 200 or just under 200 grams of DK. And I will grab very quickly my 4.5 millimeter crochet hook. Here it is. Focus! There we go. Did it? I'm not sure it did, right? Focus, come on, camera. Okay, it's not focusing, but it is 4.5 millimeters. Right. It's not wanting to focus for me, that's fine. And because we are going to work with some single crochet and half double crochet, I will be getting out 2 stitch markers, and that is all that we need. So let's gather our materials and then we'll be ready to start. Okay everyone, we are now ready to start. Yeah! So let's see if this will focus for me a little bit more. Let's see, camera, focus, yeah, focus, come on. Let's see the 4.5 crochet hook, there we are. It did focus for a second, didn't it? Okay, so what we're going to do now is, you can do your shawlette the size that you want. You can do the size that I did in my picture, or whatever size you want. I'm just going to do a much shorter version. I will just show you the technique of how to do this shawlette. So let's get started. We will start with some setup rows, and then it is a 4-row repeat. So let's do a slip knot and chain 2. And now we're going to do 2 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. Remember that we never count this as a stitch. So you're going to count 1 and 2. In that particular one here, we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and we're going to do a single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. So now we have worked our first 2 rows. Gonna chain 1, turn our work, and into the first stitch we're going to start with our increases. So in here we're going to do 2 single crochet in the first stitch. So 1, and this is when I'm going to start using my stitch markers. But of course this is completely optional. And into the same stitch we're going to do another single crochet and 1 single crochet in the next one. Oh, I'm not happy with that single crochet. I don't think I caught the 2 strands. So let's do that again. Okay, so chain 1 and turn your work and single crochet in the 3 stitches. So 1 stitch marker, 2 and 3. Chain 1, turn your work, and into the first stitch we're going to do 2 single crochet. There's 1 and 2, and then single crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. We now have 4 single crochet. So now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work and single crochet in the 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And now that we have done that, we are finished with our setup rows, and this is what the work looks like so far, which of course it will not look like very much at all. So I will now pause, and then we are ready to start with our 4-row repeat. Okay, so now that we've finished our 4-row setup, what I would highly suggest is this. So this is our last stitch. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And as we turn our work, this side here is the right side. So immediately, so you know that this is the right side, I would strongly recommend that you put a stitch marker right here into any of these stitches here at the front. So I'll do this now. Right there into this stitch, and that way with that here you will know this is the right side. Right, so now that we are ready to start, we have to remind ourselves that from now on this is going to be a 4-row repeat. The first row will be like the mesh row and including an increase. So we have chained 1 and we're going to half double crochet in the first stitch right here. So half double crochet, and I'm going to replace the stitch marker immediately. Here we are. And now we're going to chain 1, and into the very next stitch here we're going to put in another half double crochet. Okay, I think maybe we should zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now that we've done a chain 1, this is going to act as the increase. So chain 1, we're going to skip the stitch, and into the next one, which is the last one of the row, we are going to do a half double crochet. Chain 1 and turn our work around. So now in total we should have 5 stitches. So we're going to single crochet now into the first stitch, replace the marker, and we're going to single crochet in each stitch and chain space across. So the next stitch is actually a chain space right here. So in there we're going to do a single crochet. So this is the second stitch, and then we have a stitch right here. So we're going to do a single crochet in that stitch. Then we have a chain one space. So in there we're going to do a single crochet. So now we have 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And into the last stitch we're going to do a single crochet, which makes 5 single crochet. So that concludes row 2 of our 4-row repeat. So now we're going to chain 1 and turn our work around. And this is a little bit easier. So in that first stitch we're going to do another increase. Basically we're going to do an increase every 2 rows. Row 1 and row 3. So row 3, which is now, we're going to do 2 single crochet in that first stitch. 1, and I will replace the marker right now. And into that same stitch, the second single crochet. And then we're going to do a single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And chain 1 and turn your work around. And in here it is just single crochet in every stitch. So 1, replace the marker, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have 6 single crochet. And that concludes our very first set of 4 rows. And this is how our work looks so far. So I'm going to pause, and what I'm going to do is come back and do another set of 4 rows. And after that I will tell you what to do next. So now we are ready to start on another set of 4 rows. So chain 1 and turn your work around. So now we're going to do another mesh row. So in the first stitch we're going to do a half double crochet in this first stitch. Half double crochet, and replace the stitch marker. Now we're going to work an increase, and the increase will be done with a chain 1. So chain 1, and into the next stitch you're going to do another half double crochet. And now the repeat pattern will be chain 1, skip a stitch, so chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch do a half double crochet. And you do this all the way to the end, which is right now. Chain 1, skip that stitch, and into the next one do a half double crochet. And chain 1 and turn your work around, and you're ready to start on row 2. And here you're going to do a single crochet in every stitch and chain 1 space across. So let's do this. Single crochet into the first stitch, stitch marker, and then into the chain 1 space, and into the stitch right here, and then into the chain 1 space and into the stitch right here. Okay, now we need to make a little note that you must never forget that as you reach the end of this row, this particular row, is that do not ever forget this chain 1 space. Otherwise this will not work out with the increases. So in that chain 1 space you're going to do a single crochet and a single crochet into the last stitch. Just like so. And then you're going to chain 1 and turn your work around. And we're ready to start on row 3. So row 3 is another increase row. So 2 single crochet in that very first stitch. 1. Place your marker and another stitch in that same stitch. Here we are. And then just single crochet all the way to the end. So that was 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Chain 1 and turn your work around. And here is so simple. It is just basically a single crochet in each stitch across. So let's do this together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And replace your marker. And that's all there is to it for all the increases. So as you can see here, this is starting to take shape with all the increases on that one side, and this side is completely flat. So it does like a triangle. And now we'll bring back the other shawl that I was working on. Here it is. And there you are. Now you can just carry on with your shawlette until you are completely finished with all your increases. And I'm going to do a few more repeats, and then when I'm done I will come back and show you how to do the decreases. So I hope you will enjoy that for now, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, we are now ready to carry on with this shawlette, and assuming that you are now happy with the width of your shawlette, remember that this is just half of the shawlette. So now we're going to work on the other half with all the decreases. Here so far we've done all the increases, as you can see. And on this side we'll focus on all the wonderful decreases until the end. So now we are going to do another 4-row repeat. So let's, without further ado, carry on. So don't forget to chain 1 and turn your work around, and row 1 begins. And we're going to immediately start with a decrease. And we're going to do that a little bit differently than other half double crochet decreases. So in that first stitch, we're going to do a half single crochet. How we're going to do that is very simple. I'm going to remove the stitch marker. So in that very first stitch, you're going to put in your hook and grab the yarn and leave it at that. And into this next stitch you're going to do a half double crochet, part of it, going to yarn over and put your hook into this next stitch, grab the yarn And now you have 4 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 4. You have now done the first decrease. So now you're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch do a half double crochet. And this will be to the end of the row. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a half double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a half double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a half double crochet. And chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one, which is the very last one, do a half double crochet. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and work a single crochet into each stitch and chain space across. There we are, and let's carry on. Chain space and into each stitch across. So I'm going to do that on camera because this will not take long, since I do not have very many stitches. Okay, and here is the very last chain space and into the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work. And now we're going to start row 3 of our 4-row repeat. And in the next 2 stitches we're going to do a single crochet decrease. You're going to put your hook into the stitch, grab your yarn and leave it at that, and do the same thing into the next stitch. You now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. You have now done a single crochet decrease. And you're going to single crochet into each stitch across. There we are, and chain 1, and now we can proceed to the 4th row. So we are simply going to do a single crochet in every stitch across, just like so. So I'm going to do another 4-row repeat with you, and after that I will let you carry on and tell you what to do after a little while. So we have now finished our very first 4-row repeat of the decreases, and so far this is how it looks. So you may not notice a lot of difference, but I'm sure that you can see that this side is slowly starting to get shorter. Okay, so let's carry on and restart our 4-row repeat. Chain 1 and turn your work around, and we're ready to start our first row of the 4-row repeat once again. I keep repeating myself, right? So do not forget that this first decrease is a little bit different. So in the first stitch you're simply going to put your hook in there without any yarn overs or anything, just like you're going to do a regular single crochet. There we are, and grab the yarn. And into the next stitch you're going to do part of a half double crochet until you grab your yarn and you have 4 loops on the hook. You yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on the hook, and now you have done your decrease. Once you've done that, we're going to carry on with a mesh pattern. So you're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, and into this next stitch do a half double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch do a half double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a half double crochet until the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, you chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the last stitch do a half double crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work around, and you're ready to now work on your second row. So in here you're just going to do a single crochet in every stitch and chain space across. Just like so. I will finish that and show you what to do. So this is our very last space of the row. So you're going to do a single crochet and single crochet in the last stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work around, and we're now ready to work on the third row. In the first 2 stitches we're going to do a single crochet, decrease. With our 3 loops on the hook, and we yarn over and pull through all 3. And single crochet in all the other stitches to the end of the row. Chain 1 and turn your work around, and this is row 4, so you're simply going to do a single crochet in every stitch across. So let's do that. My yarn is getting all mixed up. Okay. This is the last stitch. And we have done our 4-row repeat. So this is how it's looking. You can tell that now this is really starting to take shape and getting smaller. Now this is our 4-row repeat. So what I'm going to do now is go off camera and do I'm going to do another 2 repeats of the 4-row repeat. So you're going to carry on with your shawlette until you have 4 stitches left. When you've got your 4 stitches left, I will be back and I will tell you what to do next. Okay, so I have done all the decreases until I have 4 stitches left, and this is what it's looking like. So what do we do next? It's very, very easy. Let's carry on until we have finished this little shawlette. So chain 1 and turn your work around so that you are now ready to carry on. Okay. In the very first 2 stitches, we're going to do a single crochet decrease. And I don't think at this stage we still need the stitch marker, so I'm going to take them off now. So single crochet the crease in the first 2 stitches, and then single crochet into the next 2 stitches. We now have 3 single crochet, chain 1, turn your work around and single crochet into these 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, turn your work around, and we're going to do another single crochet the crease in the first 2 stitches. And 1 single crochet into that stitch. We now have 2 single crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work around and do a single crochet into these 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Chain 1 and turn your work around, and we are nearly finished. In these 2 stitches, in these 2 final stitches, we're going to do a single crochet decrease. Just like so. And now you have this completed. It's looking really nice. And we are now ready to cut our yarn. There we are. This is done. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And remember, we have a stitch marker here that tells us this is the right side. So this is it for this video. We are done with the body of the shawlette, and I will do a different video for the border. So I hope you've enjoyed this one so far and will join me into the next video to make the border for this little shawlette.